set up. I know you said 4-4-2, but 4-2-2-2, which is kind of what the whole John Barnes thing was, remember? So 2 set midfielders, 2 wide players and 2 strikers, which does just create a big hole. And if you get Keith Lasley in there, to be fair, it's good to have him ringed in because he's a fucking animal. But yeah, 4-2-2-2, which just doesn't work for me personally. What did you make of Stokes, Chris?
He was poor. I don't really rate the guy. I don't really rate his performance. I think the ball bounces off him far too much as well. And I think he's not the worst finisher, but in outside the box, I really don't think he's very good. I'm trying to think of something fairly positive to say about the guy, but I can't.
His hair's growing back.
Well, yeah, he's the miracle cure for baldness seems to have worked on him, and he's slightly more handsome. But they were talking about Griffiths going on an emergency loan to Hibs.
Yeah,
I'd send Stokes before I'd send Griffiths.
Just on that, Ronnie.
To be honest, I don't think we could afford to send Griffiths, because if you think about it, Gudetti can't play in Europe, so that leaves us with 2 strikers in Stokes and Skefovic. One of them gets an injury or they get a suspension, then you've only got 1 striker and you can't replace him Monday. So
Ronnie Dylas came out and said he's considering it. He said he'd consider putting Stokes on loan because Hibs because they've got their striker injured, they can make an emergency loan, and he says he's considering it.
Well, it does show the fact then. I mean, it was almost like he was giving some of the reserve players a chance, and yet Griffiths wasn't even in the bench the weekend. So there seems to be a bit of a clash those two.
Clearly, Griffiths just doesn't have a future. Kieran, Beaton, talk me through his game.
I thought Beaton was quite good. I think he suits that kind of holder just in front of the defence, protecting. Doesn't do anything over elaborate. He just does the simple stuff. Takes the ball, passes it on, breaks up the play. So I think should be getting more of a run in that position.
Yeah, we've been harping on about that for the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
Yeah.
You're not impressed with me yesterday?
No, not yesterday. And I think it was to do with the system. I kind of touched on that. I think he was kind of all over the place. He lacked a bit of discipline. He looked... I think Beaton... Johansson's the same. I think when Brown's next to him, they look better, actually. So I don't know if it's the combination of Beaton and Kyle. Yesterday, I thought he was a wee bit... As I say, he didn't really know where he was going. He wasn't sure exactly what he was to do. But I have thought in certain games he has looked pretty good. And as I say,
unfortunately, yesterday, it was because it was him and Cahill who are literally almost the same similar player, and they had to have the kind of intelligence of if one goes forward, one needs to watch at the back, because there are a couple of times the two of them get caught up, and you can't really have that.
Cahill has got a bit going forward. Beaton doesn't really seem to at all, but that's why you were kind of stuck with the two of them in the centre of the park. You had to get a lot more out your wide men if it was going to work, and we didn't. And Tonev was.
Right, keep talking like the Tonev just shite.
The guy isn't fit, but all he, I mean, Ciaran will probably back me up here. All he really did was try and take on a man and ended up running into him most of the time. It was I didn't see anything that made me think you're going to be, there's something there. You're going to be a decent player. Even guys like Bo Rigter, at times I've thought, it looks as if you got to run, your fitness up.
Where is Big Dirk?
He's in for an operation.
Is he?
No, I made that up. In reference to his
huge penis.
Aye.
The boa constrictor.
Play the song.
I'll play the song here.
But Bo Rigter, I mean, he's obviously not impressed very much, but there's been flashes there. I mean, I know Tonev's only played a handful of games, but even in those games, I've thought,
Yeah, even Forrest, I know we are nothing but frustrated with Forrest, like everyone else, but you have seen him be fantastic. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? You have seen him literally, beating a guy, taking 2 or 3 people on, getting a ball in or scoring. Tonev, from what I've seen of him, which is, 2 games, he looks lacklustre. He looks like he doesn't care. Now, I'm not saying you should have to care about the club you're playing for. I get that professional footballers change clubs and they play for teams that don't mean much to them. But you should want to care just as a professional. For me, seeing a player looks lackadaisical, isn't putting the effort in, then just don't play him. He's not going to play. He's not going to get a game.
He got charged as well, didn't he? The SFA have charged him.
He has been charged.
For the old racism.
But I have heard that there's actually no video evidence.
There's no evidence at all. It's going to be his word against
witness from other people overhearing.
I think I heard that. Not that this really matters, but Aberdeen were really upset with Celtic with Dyla's comments, but Dyla's got to back his player. No?
Well, if his player comes to him and says, no, I never said anything, so why would he think the player's going to lie?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's just, it's something we didn't need at this time, I think, because it just...
He did say, sorry, Louis, he did say that I know my player. He's only been at the club for a fortnight. They spent a lot of time
took him out for dinner one
I know
night
he's not a
and got
racist.
to know
Why? Well, in the last 2 weeks he's not said anything racist to me. All right, Ronnie, nice one.
Louis, you seem like you're getting a bit frustrated at Ronnie, but we'll come back to it in a minute.
No, I was just going to say, like, as far as you were saying about kind of not having a clear formation and things like that, I would quite like to see him play just a 4-3-3, and it's going to be at the expense of Commons, because Commons just won't fit into it. But I would quite like to see Beaton with Brown and Johansson just in front of him, so those three in the middle, with Lacasso and maybe McGregor out wide positions, and probably Skepovic up front to try and use his kind of height in the box. But I would quite like him just to try and go with it and see how that three as a midfield work.
We'll get to the game in Austria in a few minutes, but actually, do you know what? We've heard what. Actually, did we hear what you thought? What did you think about Guidetti? Have we asked that already?
It didn't really show anything. I mean, it's hard to think what he did in the game. I don't even know if he had any shots. I don't know what kind of style of striker he is. He's not going to be the type one that plays off the shoulder, because he's actually quite a big boy.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be blessed with space. I wouldn't say he held the ball up very well either. So
you just don't know. What about you, Chris? What were your thoughts on him?
Much the same as Ciaran. I'm more liable to give him a bit of leeway because of his lack of fitness. He's not been playing games, but I thought he was going to hit the ground running when he signed. I thought this guy's going to be a really good player for us, and that's not to say he won't be, but I'd like to have seen a wee bit more from him. But we'll give him a pass, because
we will give him a pass. But he's very outspoken. He loves a comment in a newspaper, and he loves a bit of tweeting and stuff like that. He's very, and I like that. I'm all for him being very. Ciaran, what were you saying about the every time the ball went out? Like he was
whenever the ball went out for a bye kick for Motherwell, he was always running to get the ball, and he'd run it and put it in the spot for the keeper to take it, because the keeper was taking his time, but the keeper's going to do that when they're 1-0 up. But I mean, the crowd were applauding him for that.
Yeah, football! Yeah!
Got his fitness up.
Aye.
That's what it is.
Here's just a couple of quotes about what Ronnie had to say after the game. When you change the team a lot, the players haven't played together. You need to know where your teammates is to get tempo. Well, just answering your own question there, Ronnie, in terms of completely changing this team. The attitude was good. They worked hard and wanted the ball back. So it's more about relations and skill in the first half. It's more about relations and skill. Everybody has to improve. The attitude was good. They worked hard. That's starting to border on the old Gordon Strachan, isn't it? Yeah. Everyone has to improve in the squad. We will get injuries and people will be out for different reasons, and that's why we need to build them up. Well, he's obviously not going to have a lot of positive things to say in terms of the individual players.
So does that mean the 6 players that were dropped from Thursday all had injuries, but yet 4 of them were actually on the bench and 3 of them came on the park?
Well, Johansson wasn't in the squad, or maybe he was in the squad.
No, he wasn't on the bench. Neither was Mubarak either. So they 2 were straight out, and then the other 4.
On the bench was Skepovic, Berget, Henderson, who I'd personally like to see get a bit more time, over Kyle, for example.
Scored a hat-trick for the under-21s last week. You would have thought he might have got even just 15-20 minutes to reward him for that, but obviously not.
Especially when Dyla likes to harp on about wanting to progress the youth. Then if you're going to put in reserve players on the Saturday, then is Henderson not a great one to put in there?
I just don't understand playing Kyle. I just don't like him. I don't think he's very good. That's obviously me being biased, but what can you do? Just in terms
How was Kyle?
Well, they came off at half time, so I think that says it all.
Came off at half time again. He's been slung at half
But
time.
to be fair, that was more. It probably would be more of a tactical because they did have to have somebody in there to kind of drive the team forward. Because going forward.
Remember Kyle when he first break through when everyone was talking about him signing for Manchester United and all that. That was his game, winning the ball and driving the team forward. Is he been told not to do that, or he's just changed his game? Dylas changed his game for him because he did have a lot of energy when he.
Did they ever do that alongside Brown though? Or was it when Brown was playing out in the kind of right side of midfield?
Right side of midfield.
So I don't think you can have him and Brown doing that, unless Brown is out wide.
I have always given Scott Brown a lot of stick. I think a few of us have. I know you're one for Sermanni for it. But thank God he's back.
He's been one of our best performers since he came back. I mean, just look at the goal. It was just him picking the ball up, driving forward, and then
taking a dive,
falling in the box. It was almost as bad as the Leicester penalty.
For Cambi, was it Cambiasso?
Cambi, the Raphael. You know the one. You'll have seen it.
That was horrific.
That was horrific. It wasn't quite as bad as that, but it wasn't a penalty, if we're being perfectly honest. But it was really positive from Brown, picking the ball up, driving forward. I noticed Dylas had mentioned he rued the lack of leaders in the park. Well, Brown certainly took charge and drove us forward there. Technically, he's not great, but that drive really is helping us just now.
Yeah, I did see that. Just on that, what you were saying there about Dylas saying about leaders on the park and all that, and he did say that he wants Virgil van Dijk and Kyle to step up and become the leaders, so that if Commons and Brown aren't playing, these players should be stepping up and being the leaders.
Yeah,
which he's right, but
what's the point? Sorry to jump in, but I was talking to someone in the pub yesterday about the Celtic game because I didn't have the chance to go last night, and they were saying, Dyla, give Dyla time. I'm all for giving Dyla time. He'll build a team, and then I thought to myself, what's one of the key points of building a team is you have a defence, so you start your defence first, work from the back, right? But the two centre halves we have just aren't going to be there next season, so. This is just that I'm just a bit frustrated by the fact that you're building a team, but one of the key points of your side are not going to be there next season.
I know, but at the same time, do you not think there's an element of it in that if you are a new manager and an unknown manager to the majority of the fans, the quickest and easiest way you can win them over is to sign attacking players and make your team more attacking and better in that respect. If Dyla came in and bought 3 defenders and never bought anybody in attack, Celtic fans would have been turning around and going, "No, hold on, what's going on here?" Whereas that's, as you say, it's probably something that he should have done, try and build from the back. But I think he's maybe went the other way, thinking get the attackers in, get the strikers in, get the goals, and then maybe January go in and try and get a couple of defenders, or next summer go and try and get a couple of defenders and evolve it that way.
Sorry.
No, you go,
Chris. When you said that there, Louis, the first thing that came to my mind was Martin O'Neill and Wim Jansen. Jansen went out right away and bought Reaper, and O'Neill went out and bought Harran right away. When they first came in, it was, and now don't get me wrong, I know they bought certain other players, attacking players that were fantastic, but they recognised that you need a stalwart in defence that's really going to shore it up, and I do think that's Dyla's problem. Van Dijk is a good defender. I think if he had, likes of Stubbs, when they put Reaper next to him, that made Stubbs an even better player. I think if you got a big, strong centre half like Reaper to play next to Van Dijk, it would solve a lot of our problems. He's got Denier is too much of a ball player like Van Dijk. I think we just need.
Do you think they're too similar?
They could be, aye. I think we need a bit more of a thug at the back, just somebody that's just going to get rid of the ball.
Kieran, he did do the head thing. Ciaran, what are your thoughts on the goal that we conceded? The kind of brief overlay of it.
Yeah, I mean, it all unfortunately came down to Stokes had dropped back to get the ball and tried to do something a bit over elaborate and lost the ball. And it was over on the left wing, so Izzy had already disappeared, so he had up the wing. So obviously,
I think he just puts his head down and runs when he sees a Celtic player with a ball.
So you see, and then Virgil kind of over to usher the ball, but they got the cross in, and Sutton just got ahead of Denier. Just obviously reacted quicker than him.
He seems to, just looking at the highlights,